Imagine being a top-tier female idol, loved by millions. You have all the fame and fans anyone could want. But what would you do if you woke up one day, trapped inside the romance novel you were just reading? To make things worse, you are not the innocent and pampered main character. Instead, you are stuck playing the ultimate villain. The whole world has turned against you, and even the male lead absolutely despises you. This is the exact ridiculous situation our main character, Yuja finds herself in. Our protagonist became a huge star when she was only 14. Gaining fame so early brought her lots of admiration, but it also dragged her into endless trouble. She never really got to live like a normal teenager. Instead of focusing on school, she was constantly rushed from one performance to the next. Her schedule was so packed that she had zero time for herself. Deep down, she always craved a beautiful romance during the prime of her youth. It seemed like her wish came true when a guy approached her holding a bouquet of flowers. He walked straight toward her with a bright smile. She thought happiness was finally within reach. A moment later, the guy completely crushed her hopes because those flowers were actually for someone else. Dami was the lucky girl receiving the gift from Jesuo for her birthday. Everyone applauded, and the idol clapped right along with them. The two of them then walked off hand in hand into the sunset. Luckily, this was all just a dream. She looked down at the comic she was reading. The guy holding the flowers in her dream was Jesuo, the male lead of that story. He is totally rude to every girl except the one he likes. That happens to be her exact ideal type. While she was daydreaming, someone called her to get ready for a shoot. Even outside of her dreams, she is considered a truly beautiful girl. She is currently 18 years old and has been an idol for 4 years. In the real world, she is always the main character. The young star started her photo shoot while her pictures were plastered everywhere outside. Since she is incredibly popular, she only needs to turn on a live stream to get thousands of viewers instantly. Her fans flooded the chat with comments. Her engagement numbers were easily on par with famous singers during that session. Needing to change clothes, she said goodbye to the viewers, but the camera kept rolling. She apparently did not know how to turn it off properly. While she was struggling to tie her shoes, her stylist stepped in to do it for her. She felt a bit guilty about it, but the stylist insisted, so she let it happen. Nosy people nearby saw the whole thing unfold. Soon after, they started whispering and spreading rumors that she was bullying her staff. Every single word they said was picked up by the camera that was still broadcasting live. Public opinion quickly turned against her as stories spread that she trampled on her stylist. Before she realizes it, she went from a beloved star to the most hated person in the country. Her own filming crew started gossiping about her too. They were so loud that she could hear everything. Back when she was younger, she entered a competition and was the only one to debut. From then on, she was known as a natural-born idol and an irreplaceable member. She read the malicious rumors and comments after the incident. You can probably imagine how much it hurts to be torn apart by public gossip. Her friends still cared about her, so she asked her assistant to take her to school. She tried not to care about what clueless people thought of her. Even though she knew she would face a lot of mockery at school, she still wanted to go because it was sports day. Her manager agreed, but only allowed her to stay for an hour or two. When she arrived, reporters and students immediately questioned her about the stylist incident. In that incredibly awkward situation, Jinwoo stepped up to protect her. Later that day, while buying snacks, she overheard some girls talking about using her to get more social media followers. She decided to grant their wish and took a picture with them. As soon as they posted it, their follower counts shot up. When she finally got home, she cried her eyes out. Finding comfort in her favorite comic gave her the strength to push through the hateful comments. Out of nowhere, she received a text from an anonymous person. The stranger understood her pain because he had been through something similar. When she lied and said she was only crying over the story plot, the stranger stopped replying. Right then, a notification popped up for a new side chapter of her comic. Jinwoo saw the photo she took with those fake friends and commented that they were using her, but nobody believed him. In the new chapter, she was completely disappointed to see Jesuo become a priest. A perfectly good story suddenly shifted into a terrible ending. Soon after, Jinwoo posted an article trying to prove he was her real friend. The next day, she had to attend a showcase event and was handed a script to answer questions from the press. As soon as she walked out, countless cameras flashed in her face. The host asked about the album she had been preparing for the past year. She answered confidently, but then someone brought up rumors about academic fraud and school bullying. She denied everything, but knew no one would believe her words anyway. She also realized that Jinwoo was actually the one who leaked the fake academic records. Feeling completely hopeless, she prayed for a way to escape. Not long after, she was magically transported into her favorite novel. The catch is that she took on the role of the ultimate villainess. Now trapped inside her favorite book, she remembered that every time the villainess was bullied, lead, Jesuo, would show up. She had always wished for someone like him to be by her side. Whenever she felt sad, she wanted a person like that to appear. She always thought of him as a comfort character, but now he treats her just like an enemy. Realizing she had actually crossed over into the story, she ran outside to verify everything. She used to think of him when she was exhausted, but she never expected things to go this far. Being stuck in a fictional world was crazy enough, but playing the bad guy was just too much. She could not focus in class at all because everything around her perfectly matched the book. She could not figure out how she went from a press event to this strange place. Thinking she might be in a coma, she stood up abruptly. It turned out she was fully awake. The girls hanging around her were the three infamous bullies who always tormented Dami. After spotting Jesuo and Shinhansei, she confirmed she was attending the exact same school as the popular group of 4 guys. In this famous squad, Jesuo is the most chased after guy in school. He is the character she admires the most in this incredibly long story. If he had a fan club, she would definitely be the president. The group also includes Jinwoo, the incredibly strict student council president who never loses his top rank. He probably studies in his sleep. Then there is Min Eunhyun, the second male lead who secretly loves Dami but suffers in silence without ever confessing. Finally, there is Shin Han-se, the ultimate playboy who ruins the trust of women. He is the character she hates the most, and she usually skips his scenes. In this world, she also got to see the legendary female lead Dami in person. She always imagined her as a mythical perfect girl, but seeing her in real life, she actually looked quite normal. The idol tried her absolute best to be a good person by acting gentle and avoiding trouble. For some unknown reason, Jesuo still saw her as a villain trying to ruin everything. She merely wore an outfit similar to Dami, just copying the style, but was immediately accused of hiding the original clothes. She swore she did not even have time to process what was going on. Things peaked at the basketball court when she noticed Dami looking pale and shocked. While everyone was busy taking pictures, a mean girl snapped a photo to mock Dami for being a fragile princess. The girl sent the photo into a secret group chat like she was running a covert school spy network. The bully then walked over with a shaken bottle of soda, ready to spray it right into Dami. Having read over 500 chapters of romance novels, she instantly recognized this classic trope. The soda would fly, ruining the main girl and leaving her in tears. Even knowing that interfering would change the plot, she rushed in to sacrifice herself and save the lovely hair of the female lead. She grabbed the bottle as gently as she could. Jesuo stepped in, assuming she was the one bullying Dami, cementing her role as the true villain in the eyes of everyone. The scene played out just like the novel, but in a way nobody wanted. She ended up completely drenched in soda from head to toe, just because she tried to keep Jesuo from getting wet. While she was miserably scrubbing her clothes, Dami unexpectedly showed up and handed her a bar of soap. It was such a thoughtful gesture. It turned out Dami knew she had stepped in to help her. After an unexpected expression of gratitude, the idol borrowed the phone of Dami and opened the toxic group chat. She decisively left the chat and blocked those girls, cleaning up the trash without a single second of hesitation. She advised Dami to just leave the group if she ever got invited again, and told her not to be afraid. Ironically, she was the one who created that very group chat in the original story. At that moment, the mean girls showed up. Wanting to avoid unnecessary drama, she told Dami to head back to class first. Before the bullies could ask any questions, she fired off a quick excuse. She claimed the homeroom teacher was looking for them, and they better go back unless they wanted to get in trouble. Knowing the rules of the world beforehand definitely makes life a lot easier. While strolling peacefully down the hallway, she accidentally witnessed a romantic scene straight out of the book. It was actually the saddest part of the story, and now it was broadcasting live right in front of her. Ironically, Jesuo happened to catch her eye. The moment they locked eyes, she immediately turned and ran. Her bad luck struck again, and she crashed right into him. In a moment of panic, she blurted out that she was just walking by. She then ended up confessing that she was following Dami to protect her from bullies. The funny part is that Jesuo firmly believes she is the main bully. She took a hard look at her situation and realized the setup was entirely accurate. She was always the villain, whether in her old world or this new one, and everyone always boycotted her. Now she desperately wanted to drop the villain act and believed she could do it if she tried hard enough. She went to the faculty office to find her personal records, but bumped into Jinwoo instead. He pointed out where the attendance book was, but she could not find it anywhere. It turned out Shin Han-se was holding it. She lied and said she needed to take it to the teacher, but unfortunately, the teacher just handed it right back to Han-se. Night fell, and she had no place to sleep until she remembered a specific location. Upon entering the room, she found Jisuo already inside. Thanks to the novel, she knew exactly where the student council room key was hidden. She only came here because she had nowhere else to go. The second he saw her, he flicked off the lights and shut the door. He pulled her aside to hide from the security guard. He still did not know the whole story, so he continued to misunderstand her intentions. She wanted to leave, but the door was locked from the outside. She asked why he was there so late and made a wild guess that really annoyed him. Finally, she had a chance to rest. It only took a few minutes for her to feel sleepy. As soon as she drifted off, she dreamed about being completely boycotted by everyone again. In the dream, Jisuo actually stood up to protect her. Right in the middle of this nice dream, she woke up abruptly. It was already 9 in the morning, and the person sitting at the desk was the student council president. She quickly apologized to Jinwoo and rushed out because first period was starting. She snuck into class with a completely new mindset. She resolved to avoid Jisuo as much as humanly possible. From now on, she would hide the second she saw his face. Jisuo noticed her strange avoidance and found it incredibly annoying. During lunch, she spotted Dami. She realized that almost everyone seemed to hate the female lead. The crowd disliked her because she hung out with the popular guys and ignored everyone else. They all assumed she was just playing hard to get to win over Jisuo. But when Dami was in danger earlier, she had called out to her and gotten no response, which is why she had to rush in and save her. The truth was, Dami was not ignoring people out of arrogance. She actually had hearing issues since childhood. She had told people about it, but nobody believed her. While they were chatting happily, Jisuo suddenly pulled the idol away for a private talk. He looked really tense and dragged her into the council room to complain. She didn't notice that the student council president was there. The president suggested she sleep there again, since it was better than wandering the streets. He did not know what her exact problem was, but he gave her some good advice and handed over the key. That night, looking at a picture of Shin Hansei sparked a new idea. The very next day, Hansei spread a wild rumor about her. The girls at school dropped their grudge against Dami because the villainess took all the heat. Having absorbed all the hate, she started fixing things by apologizing to Dami through the school broadcast of Jinwoo. Everyone crowded around to apologize to Dami as well. They all thought the idol had spread false rumors just to make people hate the poor girl. Dami tried to explain her hearing condition, but the idol took all the blame, so Dami just had to play along. From that moment on, the suffering of Dami ended, and a bright future opened up for her. Jisuo found out the truth because Hansei told him everything. While pulling weeds in the garden, she saw Dami and Minhyun talking. Dami took the chance to invite Eunhyun to eat with her. She finally realized the person Dami actually liked was Eunhyun, and not Jisuo. The night they were stuck in the room together, Jisuo had seen her crying. He went to see her right as music started playing in the garden. She had specifically pulled weeds just to get her requested song and script played over the speakers. In the original ending, the 4 famous guys took a photo with Dami at graduation. That was also the moment Jisuo confessed his love to her. That was supposed to be the grand finale. The new side chapter revealed that Eunhyun also confessed at that exact same time. Dami admitted she actually had feelings for Eunhyun instead. It was a completely tragic ending for the favorite character of the idol. She still had not found a real home, but she was getting used to her new life. Despite the recent drama, things had not changed as much as she hoped. Dami was making positive progress, and she knew about her feelings for Eunhyun. At the same time, Jisuo still cared for Dami, without realizing she already liked someone else. If things kept going this way, the ending would be a total disaster. She wanted to change the story so everyone could have a happy ending. She met up with Dami privately and confirmed her feelings for Eunhyun. She promised to help the two of them become a real couple. Now, whenever she walked with Dami and spotted Jisuo, she would automatically turn the other way. She did everything in her power to keep the two main characters apart. During a random draw, she saw Dami get paired with Jisuo by pulling the same number. She quickly swapped her own number with Dami to separate them. She used the opportunity to ask Jisuo about his feelings. He admitted he only saw Dami as a regular classmate. She praised him for this, but it just made him annoyed, and he left her to do the classwork alone. During gym class, she proactively partnered up with Jisuo to keep Dami safe. No matter how hard she tried to keep them apart, the teacher still sent the two of them to the equipment room together to fetch basketballs. Taking matters into her own hands, she created a secret group for girls who had a crush on Jisuo. She would broadcast his exact location to them, telling them he was thirsty, so they would rush over to buy him drinks. Soon after, he was completely flooded with water bottles. It did not stop there because wherever he went, a huge crowd of girls followed him. This was her master plan to ensure he had zero free time to bump into Dami. Jesuo grew extremely frustrated and confronted her, guessing she was the mastermind behind all the chaos. She denied it, but accidentally made a slip of the tongue, and he caught her in the lie. She distracted him and bolted. He chased after her, but could not catch up. Just then, Dami walked past, and Jesuo naturally stopped to help her carry some things. The idol truly underestimated the power of the plot. She could not understand why the author wrote a script that forced them to meet so easily. Now she was genuinely worried about his tragic ending. This only fueled her determination to completely destroy any romantic connection between those two. She found herself bound by a frustrating contract with the student council president. Looking back, she realized the president was actually much scarier than she initially thought. When Jesuo came looking for her, she ran away again. She accepted all the chores the president assigned her, and even refused the snacks he offered. The president was quite surprised to see Jesuo actually trying to interact with a girl other than Dami. Jesuo explained that her pranks were the reason girls were constantly bothering him. Even in that very moment, his phone kept ringing endlessly. The president clearly noticed that Jesuo had changed since he usually ignored things like that. The idol became an expert at escaping. As soon as the bell rang, she vanished without even packing her bags. She never expected Jesuo to be this incredibly persistent in chasing her down. She tried to pep talk herself into believing that he would finally stop trailing her tomorrow. Right then, Jesuo appeared, and she immediately remembered this exact scene from the novel. In the story, Dami was supposed to slip and accidentally stain his shirt. He would then use that as an excuse to stick by her side for a whole month. Knowing this was coming, she intercepted the moment by catching Dami instead. Because of her quick save, she ended up scraping the side of her own face. Jesu then delivered a line that was originally meant for Dami, but he said it to the idol instead. This totally threw her off, making it impossible for her to predict the next plot point. After getting herself hurt, she got a harsh scolding from him. He bluntly told her to stop doing such stupid things. He advised her to start taking care of herself first. He also warned her not to get hurt and make other people feel guilty about it. After that, he walked off, looking completely cold. Shinhansa saw the whole exchange and pulled Jesuo aside for a private chat. He felt that his words were a bit too harsh on her. The truth was, Jesuo noticed that she was constantly brushing off her injuries out of habit, always claiming she was fine when she clearly was not. That bothered him deeply. Hansei noticed he had been paying a lot of attention to her lately and wanted to confirm it. Jesuo dodged the question and completely changed the subject. Meanwhile, she kept thinking about that line he said to her. It was supposed to be a line meant exclusively for Dami. She remembered that in the next scene, he and Dami were supposed to meet at a park during a volunteer activity. She asked Dami and confirmed she was still planning to volunteer. That meant her recent actions had not derailed the main plot yet. Now, she wanted to join Dami for the volunteer work. She decided to blackmail Hansei, using the favor he owed her from posting that rumor. He actually brought her some clothes to wear, but they belonged to his sister. She just found out he had a sister, and actually he had three. She put on her disguise and headed to the volunteer event. Today was the day the relationship between Dami and Jesuo was supposed to change. She hid and kept a close eye on Dami. Now she just needed to pinpoint his location to intercept him. She asked the internet for help tracking him down. Suddenly, a random little boy showed up and started bothering her. He kept bragging about his older brother and trying to set them up. Right then, she got a message with his exact location, so she rushed over immediately. Once she got close, she called Dami and lied, saying she was lost and needed her to come out and find her. Jesuo had been frantically looking for his little brother. She thought Dami had already left the spot, but when she turned around, she saw Dami standing right there with the little boy. Out of options, she ran up and smacked Jesuo on the head right before he could spot Dami and the kid. Naturally, he chased after her and completely missed seeing Dami. She ripped off her glasses to run faster, but ended up hitting a dead end. Ultimately, her identity was exposed. To make matters worse, they both tumbled right into a fountain together. She scrambled up and ran away while he was still struggling to get to his feet. Adding insult to injury, a fan managed to record the whole embarrassing fall. Back at his house, he gave his little brother a serious scolding for wandering off. The kid tried to tell him about the idol, but he still did not even know her name. Hansei wanted to meet up with her privately to talk. It seemed she was being misunderstood again, as people thought she was out for revenge against Jesuo. A video of him falling into the fountain was now circulating all over the internet. People were already turning his photos into online memes. She ran back to the fountain and found him sitting there. He was sighing heavily while scrolling through the viral posts about himself. She pulled out a volume of her novel, pretending to read read it just to have an excuse to start a conversation. She opened up about her life in her previous world. He mentioned that he already knew she had created a chat group for his fangirls. She quickly explained that she did not make it to harass him. She apologized sincerely and promised to delete the group entirely. He thanked her for comforting him and then left. That night, he had a lot on his mind. He remembered her complaining about the cold earlier. He walked out to the living room and left a blanket out for her. While he was there, he accidentally spotted the disguise she had worn earlier. After thinking about the fan pages she had created for him, she reminisced about her own past fame. Back then, she had a massive fan base too. Because of that, she understood exactly how annoying it could be to get harassed. Therefore, she made the final decision to shut down the fan community she had built for him. Even though she knew she would face massive backlash for it, she finally resolved his fan problem. Most importantly, she received his gratitude and felt like she was slowly shedding her villain status. She looked up her own character profile in the novel. Her feed was entirely filled with designer perfumes and luxury goods. After all, she was written as a wealthy elite villain. She managed to track down her house using a delivery address. However, she had no idea how she was supposed to address her own mother. The harsh reality was that she was just a renter, and when she got to her room, it was completely empty. All the glamorous photos online were just carefully staged in a tiny corner, just like some internet influencers do. She finally realized that all those flashy posts, and even the supposed love of her character for Jesuo, were completely fake. He read her online posts and saw that she had officially shut down the fan club. Now she was caught in a major scandal. She had to start selling things online just to scrape together enough money to pay off her contract fees. The two girls who hated her showed up again, assuming she had reverted back to her evil ways. He approached her and asked if she had packed up all her bags. She casually replied that she had gone home. He asked what she did last weekend, but since that was before she crossed over into the novel, she lied and said she could not remember. Hansei got caught lending her clothes and ended up getting scolded by him. Hansei tried his best to explain, but it was no use. Jesuo went straight to the student council president, expressing his worry that she did not actually go home and might be sleeping somewhere unsafe. Everyone thought she was acting incredibly strange lately. According to social media, she was a rich girl, but in reality, they saw her borrowing money and cleaning supplies from the student council. The truth was her room was completely bare, and she did not even have food. Online, she looked like a role model, adored by the youth, but the reality of this role model was that she could not even afford a meal and had to spend her last 1,000 won just to buy a cheap table. Suddenly, she got a text from Dami asking for help, so she invited her straight over to her room. It turned out Eunhyun had confessed his feelings, and Dami had run away in a panic. The pressure was just too much for her, so she fled. She only considered the idol and Jesuo as true friends, which is why she needed to talk. Dami was about to call him, but the idol quickly stepped in, offering her own advice to stop her from contacting him. She figured that if he found out Dami liked Eunhyun, it would absolutely break his heart. Glancing around the room, Dami noticed several items that the Villainess had previously stolen from her. Realizing her character had stolen things just to decorate her room, the idol felt deeply ashamed. Now she wanted to sell those exact items back just to buy some food. It was a win-win situation, allowing them to make some money while erasing bad memories. As soon as she posted the items, someone bought them and she went out to deliver them. When she arrived at the meeting spot, she accidentally approached an older man, but the real buyer turned out to be the little kid from the park. The boy had intended to buy the item as a gift for his mom, so the idol decided to just give it to him for free. However, the boy refused to take a handout and insisted on paying fairly. On her way back, she remembered the kid mentioning he had to buy something else from another seller, and she started feeling anxious for him. The kid went to buy his next item, but got scammed by some older guys who short-changed him. Luckily, she arrived right on time and had already recorded the scammers taking advantage of the kid. Back at his house, Jesuo was still thinking intensely about her. Suddenly, he got a call telling him to come pick up his little brother. That was the moment she finally realized he was the guardian of the boy. His little brother was named Yunho, and when she went back to their house, she saw baby pictures of him. She spotted a notebook and tried to peek inside, but he quickly snatched it away. She had noticed her name written inside, which piqued her curiosity. She managed to snatch it back, and he brought up the fountain incident, making her extremely flustered. She tried to dodge the subject and asked to leave, but failed. He cut straight to the chase and asked why she had been following him. Right on cue, Yunho demanded to go to the bathroom, giving her the perfect chance to escape and leaving him feeling completely helpless. Every morning, he had to wrestle with his little brother like a tired dad. That was exactly why he was always late for class. class. Hansei naturally took the opportunity to tease him about it. He glanced over at her desk and noticed she had actually shown up to school. In reality, she was hiding out in the library trying to avoid him after getting busted at the park. While she was hiding, the student council president sat down next to her and asked what was wrong. She confessed she was actively avoiding someone. She figured the library was the absolute last place they would ever bump into each other. Knowing that Jinwoo was close friends with Jesuo, she decided to ask for his help. She bought him all sorts of drinks from hot tea to soda. However, he hated bribery and strictly forbade it in any form. Now she was following him around like a lost puppy, volunteering to help him with everything. Eventually, she ran into the friend group of Jesuo. Everything was fine until she noticed Eunhan was there too, and she immediately felt awkward. Eunhan was busy overthinking, believing he must have messed up his confession somehow. Back in the council room, she kept insisting on helping Jinwoo with every task, but ended up causing him endless trouble. He could only laugh it off and finally asked why she was so desperate to know what Jesuo liked. She admitted she wanted to apologize to him, and Jinwoo simply advised her to just go ahead and say sorry. But she felt that a simple apology was not enough to make up for everything. Jinwoo then shared that Jesuo had a little brother, and since their parents were always busy, he was the one who always dropped the kid off at school. She mentioned that she already knew Yunho. Jinwoo summarized that he loved his brother more than anything. That was probably the most important thing in his life. Seeing that it was about to rain, she quickly popped open an umbrella for Jinwoo. In that moment, he realized his own heart might be fluttering a little. The next day, she put her new plan into action. She showed up at his house and lied, saying she was just jogging by. He completely saw through her, knowing she had simply run out of places to hide. After that, she walked with the two brothers to school. Not only that, she had prepared a perfectly balanced, highly nutritious breakfast just for him. She announced that from now on, she would help drop Yunho off every morning and make his breakfast too. He asked her point blank why she was going to such lengths. Hansei chimed in, pointing out that it was obvious she was trying to apologize for the fountain incident. Jesuo did not seem thrilled about the food she offered, but Jinwoo stepped up and said he would gladly eat it. Jinwoo walked over and thanked her for lending him the umbrella the night before. He gently reminded her to be careful walking home, which definitely caught the attention of Jesuo. Jinwoo mentioned he had walked him home last night and needed him to stay late for a meeting today. He was about to decline because he had to pick up Yunho, but she immediately volunteered to do it. Jinwoo tried to grab the food he disliked, but he snatched it back. She quickly grabbed another serving and handed it to Jinwoo, leaving Jesuo completely stunned. After that, he finally decided to accept her apology and declared he would boss her around for a whole week. She went to pick up Yunho and discovered the kid had joined a secret online group. The kids in the group seemed to be his friends, and they were planning to meet up later. She offered to help him on the condition that he told her the truth about what was going on. It turned out the group was run by older teenagers who were bullying Yunho. They demanded he meet them at the playground tonight, promising to stop scaring him if he showed up. They also threatened that if he told anyone, he would be branded a total coward. She called Jesuo out to the park that night, and his little brother immediately tried to scare him with a flashlight. After using him as a test dummy and seeing it work, she put the real plan into motion. When the bullies arrived to scare Yunho, the little kid popped out and terrified them, sending them running for their lives. In the end, she was the only one cheering the kid on while he scolded his brother harshly. She quickly swooped in to comfort the boy, and promised to treat him to a meal. On the way home, the little kid demanded his older brother walk her back. He agreed and walked her home. He opened up about his own childhood, admitting he used to cry even more than Yunho does now. She took the perfect opportunity to officially ask for his forgiveness. Everything was finally smoothed over, and she somehow even managed to score a real date with him. The funny part was, she did not even realize she was the one who asked him out. She started second-guessing his acceptance of her confession. She hatched a brand new plan to make him realize that other girls were far more interesting than she was. So their weekend date was officially set. Both of them dressed up nicely. He had tried on multiple outfits while she had meticulously planned out the entire itinerary. They started chatting, and she opened up about her dream of becoming a famous singer. He asked her to sing a little so he could judge if she actually had any potential. She grabbed a fork pretending it was a microphone and got ready to sing. Suddenly a waiter walked over and told them to read the strict rules of the cafe online. The place did not allow parties larger than 3. Customers were strictly limited to 40 minutes. Most importantly, absolute silence was required, meaning no loud talking and no clinking silverware against plates, so they were forced to eat in complete awkward silence. She accidentally dropped her fork, drawing an annoyed glare from the waiter. Next, she dragged him to a completely different spot. She had found the place online, and it had glowing reviews. But looking around, the reality was vastly different from the polished photos. The truth was, she had never actually been to a place this crowded before. It was definitely loud, but undeniably fun. Suddenly, a huge mob of people rushed in to fight for a photo spot, so she grabbed his hand and pulled him outside just to get some fresh air. Outside, there were plenty of events going on, but they were all exclusively for couples. She promised herself that if she ever got a real boyfriend, she would definitely come back here. He still insisted on joining a couple photo event. He even boldly claimed they had just started dating today, just so she could win a stuffed animal. She assumed he was just lying to get the prize and playfully held up the photo for him to see. Looking at it, she realized they actually looked exactly like a real couple. Hansei noticed that the two of them hanging out was becoming a serious issue. Jinwoo thought it was totally fine at first, until he saw the photo of them together. A little later, he saw that she had spilled coffee on her hand and tried to act all cool helping her, but ended up getting his own hands dirty. When she found out this was actually his first date ever, she felt terrible for making it such a disaster. Feeling hungry, she suggested they finally get something to eat since they had barely touched their food earlier. He ended up buying her instant cup noodles, and in that exact moment they tasted better than any gourmet meal. They sat there enjoying the view and relaxing, but it created a thick, awkward tension between them. To break the ice, they decided to go grab some pastries. While playing a game where they had to speak for each other, he suddenly realized she did not actually like him. That completely ruined his mood, and he asked to step outside. Right at that moment, he coincidentally spotted Dami and Eunhyun out on a date. It seemed he had known all along that Eunhyun had feelings for Dami and had actually been worried the guy would never confess. Later that night, she assumed he had no idea about the new couple, so she tried to break the news to him gently. That was when he finally revealed he never actually liked Dami, leaving her with even more unanswered questions. The next day, the famous squad of four was punished by Jinwoo for skipping their last meeting without permission. He also took the chance to ask Jisoo directly if he had feelings for the idol. Yujubei was also questioned by Shin Hansei about whether she liked Jisoo. She replied that he was like a first love, and first loves never work out. Jisoo happened to overhear Hansei asking about her feelings for him. Hearing her answer only made him feel more conflicted. Today, he walked home with her again, and she mentioned it was a bit of a shame little Yoonho was not with them. However, he seemed to be keeping his distance now that he knew she did not return his feelings. She sensed the shift in his attitude and ended up confiding in Lee Dami about it. Just then, the teacher walked in to introduce a new transfer student. His name was Jun Sung, and as far as she knew, he definitely did not exist in the original novel. During lunch, while the famous squad was sitting together, Jun Sung walked right up and started snapping photos of them. He then casually asked to join their group and suggested they rename themselves the Five Great Kings. It quickly became obvious that he had a bigger prince syndrome than even Jisoo. Since Hansei had been best friends with him for 8 years, actually 11 years now, he started acting all whiny about it. Annoyed by the whole situation, Jisoo left the table, and the rest of the group followed, except for Jinwoo. But Jun Sung's bizarre personality was too much even for the polite council president, who left shortly after. Lately, way too many things were happening that strayed from the novel's plot, forcing her to rethink her actions. She only wanted to change the tragic ending, but now the entire storyline she knew was completely derailed. While she was deep in thought, Jinwoo appeared and struck up a conversation. She played along and chatted with him, and he eventually invited her to join the student council. But after everything she had been through, she was much more cautious about accepting any of his offers. Meanwhile, Jun Sung was acting like any other shameless student, mooching food off the famous squad. He even asked Jisoo to help him get into the student council. Jun Sung pulled a sneaky trick by going to Jinwoo to apply, using Jisoo's supposed recommendation as his excuse. Jisoo went to the council room to clear things up and caught Jinwoo and the idol chatting intimately. When he brought up Jun Sung, Jinwoo showed him the application form, which clearly stated it was recommended by Jisoo. He absolutely did not want Jun Sung in the council, but the idol, wanting to do the exact opposite, urged Jinwoo to give the guy a chance. Unbeknownst to them, their conversation was secretly being recorded. Since Jinwoo seemed to be dealing with drama every single day, she invited him out for some milk to relax. Right at that moment, Jisoo happened to walk by and caught the two of them eating together. However, he also caught Jun Sung secretly filming them from a distance. He immediately warned the new guy not to spread any ridiculous rumors or he would be in serious trouble. That night, she noticed someone following her. She quickly ducked into a convenience store to hide hide, but suddenly received an anonymous, threatening text message from her stalker. The next day, she skipped school, and rumors quickly spread that she was sick, so the whole group decided to pay her a visit. They showed up and barged right into her house, acting like true friends. Hansei declared they were just visiting a friend's house to cook, and they all started having fun together. While hanging up the laundry, Jae-soo wanted to ask her a direct question, but right at the crucial moment, Jinwoo was there too. He asked why she believed that first loves could never work out. Jinwoo then walked down and made a show of caring for her, which immediately caught the attention of Jae-soo. By evening, her once empty apartment had been refurnished to look less bare, and they all sat down to share some fried rice. But Jae-soo could not even crack a smile. Seeing Jinwoo get close to her only made him focus more intensely on the two of them. She kept thinking about her own words, that first loves never work out, and thought about texting him, but the anonymous stalker kept harassing her, even though she had already blocked the number. He even sent a photo proving he was standing right outside her apartment building. It turned out the anonymous stalker making the threats was none other than Shin Hansei. She rushed downstairs and caught him red-handed, sending the messages. Shockingly, he also knew that she was a famous idol in her past life. It turned out Hansei had also crossed over into this world. Just like her, he was transported into his older sister's favorite novel. His sister had passed away, and all he had left of her were photos and memories. She had always wanted to see the happy ending of the story, but died before she could. Inside the novel, every time the characters reached graduation, the timeline would just reset to the beginning. The exact same scenes played out over and over, but Hansei was happy because the story always ended happily. Then, one day, he noticed her reacting differently than usual. The plot of the novel started shifting. That was when he realized she was the idol from the real world. It became clear that another real person had entered the book. He came up with his twisted plan because she was actively ruining the story. The scenes were changing. Dami was supposed to be close to Jae-soo, but now she was getting closer to Min Eun-hyun instead. She tried to explain that the ending had already changed because of the newly released side chapters, a fact Hansei apparently did not know. Jae-soo went out to buy medicine, pretending to be sick to avoid suspicion. During class, she kept texting Hansei, which obviously caught Jae-soo's attention. After discovering Hansei was also from the real world, she clung to him, constantly discussing the novel's ending. Even when Jae-soo tried to talk to her, she would just brush him off to go find Hansei. The truth was, during his last conversation with Jinwoo, Jae-soo had finally admitted he liked her, since Jinwoo also had feelings for her. The two guys were now practically rivals. Hansei warned her that she should just let the story play out exactly as the original script dictated, but she refused to accept the new side chapter ending because it was too painful. Hansei then posed a hypothetical question. What if Jae-soo actually liked her now? How would she handle that? If the ending no longer followed the loop, the starting point would also change. That meant she and Hansei could be trapped inside the novel forever. Or worse, they might simply vanish one day because the plot had been completely altered. Only then did she truly grasp the gravity of the situation, and she had no idea what to do. She just wanted this entire fictional world to disappear like dust. On top of everything, she actually had to start studying for real, or she would fail her classes and be forced to take remedial courses. Seeing her sighing all day in the library, Jinwoo came over to ask what was wrong. He opened up, admitting that he also faced a lot of struggles sometimes. Seeing how hard he studied, she guessed he must have a huge dream, like becoming a doctor or a teacher. He admitted he did not have an answer yet, so she advised him to find a goal and work toward it. As for her, she was currently working toward her own goal by finishing her homework. That night, Jae-soo was still feeling uneasy and went looking for Jinwoo, but just as he was texting him, Jinwoo appeared right in front of him, walking with the idol. They were chatting animatedly and looked quite close. Only after she left did Jinwoo notice Jae-soo standing right there. Jae-soo made it clear he did not want to ruin their friendship, but he also refused to lose her. Jinwoo challenged him, saying that if she rejected them both, he would just date her himself. Jae-soo flatly refused the idea and confidently stated he would not be rejected. The next day, she asked Hansei about Junsung's sudden appearance. It seemed he had never existed in previous loops. Hansei told her bluntly that these bizarre changes were happening entirely because of her arrival. She started stressing over the fact that the ending was changing. Right then, Jae-soo walked up and asked why she looked so sad. She bluntly replied that he was the reason she was sad. On the way home, he kept following her relentlessly. He demanded to know why she blamed him for her sadness. Unbeknownst to them, their entire interaction was being filmed by Junsung. The very next day, a massive rumor broke out that she was two-timing. Seeing her reaction, one might think people would take it as a joke and not believe it, but everyone swallowed the rumor completely. Jae-soo confronted her directly and asked if she liked him. She immediately denied it. She also firmly denied having any feelings for Jinwoo. In short, she declared she liked neither of them. After that, Jae-suo publicly corrected everyone, saying that he was the one who liked her, not the other way around. It finally dawned on her that the plot had drastically changed because she was now the one Jae-suo liked. She tried to explain that she had never looked at him as a man. In conclusion, she adamantly stated she did not like him. He then told Jinwoo that he had officially confessed to her. He firmly told Jinwoo he had no intention of giving up, so Jinwoo should not even bother trying. Standing nearby, Hansei overheard the entire conversation and realized the plot had truly shattered. Now, whenever she hung out with Jinwoo, people scrutinized their every move. Jinwoo had started thinking about his own dreams and asked her to help him achieve them. Right in the middle of their conversation, Jae-suo showed up out of nowhere, carrying a stack of books. He claimed he was there to study for exams, but Jinwoo promptly kicked him out and went back to tutoring her. That night, another masked figure dressed in black was standing outside her apartment. As soon as she saw him, she hid and called out, asking if it was Hansei. The next day at school, she asked him about it, but it seemed he had not been at her house. Today, another video leaked, and this time she was accused of three-timing because Hansei was involved. She apologized to him for dragging him into these nasty rumors, finally admitting that the novel was completely off track because of her. Hansei then opened up about his older sister. Since their parents passed away, he had lived with her since childhood. She got sick and passed away, leaving him completely alone. This was her favorite novel, and he never wanted to leave this world because of it. Here, he had 3 older sisters and was part of the popular squad. He had been angry with the idol because he did not want his perfect, happy loop destroyed. She confessed she had transmigrated to escape the endless troubles of her real life. Bringing the conversation back to the main issue, she asked about the person who showed up at her house last. It seemed it really was not Hansei. While they were talking, Jae-suo appeared again and mistakenly assumed the two of them had feelings for each other. The group gathered together, and she shared her problem about being stalked by a masked man. Jinwoo immediately offered to walk her home that very day. Jae-suo objected and insisted he should be the one to do it. They decided to settle it with a game of rock, paper, scissors, and Jae-suo emerged victorious. On the way back, he logged her social media account into his phone. While she temporarily used his account, he also finally admitted that he had not treated her well recently. He just wanted their relationship to stay exactly as it was. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Hansei spotted the stalker and chased after him. Ultimately, Jun-sung was exposed as the creep who had been stalking her all along. He claimed he secretly filmed and posted the videos just for attention because it entertained him. He even threatened that he had plenty more videos and could post them whenever he wanted. Jae-suo immediately confiscated his phone, using the videos as hard evidence that Jun-sung was stalking her. The next day, posters detailing Jun-sung's secret filming and fake rumors were plastered all over the school. Social media quickly turned against him, with everyone demanding the account owner take down the videos. Because of this massive scandal, Jun-sung was going to be expelled. It turned out Jinwoo and Jae-suo had secretly teamed up to investigate Jun-sung's stalking. They had suspected him for a while and had been actively gathering evidence. When exam day arrived, both Dami and the Smos idol managed to pass after some effort. She noticed Dami reciting a line that she herself was originally supposed to say to Jae-suo. After delivering the line, Dami invited him to eat at the cafeteria. Suddenly, an announcement over the PA system revealed some information about Dami. The idol rushed to the broadcasting room and found Hansei speaking into the microphone. She initially thought he was the one who chased away the actual announcer to attack Dami. However, Hansei revealed the real reason Jun-sung appeared and targeted her. The female lead always needs obstacles to overcome. The name broadcasted earlier was actually not Dami's, it was UJB's. That meant the female lead of the novel was no longer Dami, it was her. Jun-sung and the mean girls were now acting as the villains, and they were attacking her precisely because she had become the main character. She and Jae-suo made a deal. He gave her a childhood photo of Min Eun-hyun, and in exchange, she had to help him with something. He made her fill out a survey he had prepared. Through him, she and Eun-hyun indirectly swapped childhood photos. Jae-suo then explained to Dami that the idol had completely misunderstood their relationship, which led to all the recent chaos. When Dami went to find Eun-hyun, she saw some girls asking him out, but he rejected rejected them, saying he already had plans. She assumed he was meeting his middle school friend and walked away feeling sad. She had no idea she was the one he actually wanted to hang out with. Jesuo took her completed survey home and studied it intently that night. After analyzing her preferences, he realized she loved movies with happy endings, where the main characters get married, but for him, that was not a happy ending. It was a sad one. The next day, he bought her a drink, claiming it was just as a friend. Because he had done his research, he made sure to buy a drink for Hansei as well, to avoid suspicion. So now, Jesuo was going to start with friendship, just like she wanted. She also began to realize that his recent persistence was actually making her heart flutter. She caught herself daydreaming and knew she had to stay alert if she did not want to fall into the trap of love. During homeroom, the seating arrangement placed her right next to him. This was the undeniable power of the female lead's aura. Destiny would always find a way to push them together. Because she forgot her textbook, she was forced to stand at the back of the class. Seeing this, he pretended to forget his book too, just so he could stand next to her. The school bully tried to start trouble with her again, accusing her of betrayal. The truth was, the bully was the one who stole her textbook, which was why she did not have it for homeroom. Later, Hansei walked by, and she asked him to clarify if Jesuo was actually serious about his confession. Hansei was not entirely sure, but judging by the way he confessed, he guessed it was genuine. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was dealing with extreme academic pressure. Everyone in his family had gotten into medical school, so he was expected to do the same. If he failed, he probably would not even dare to go home. To make matters worse, his true passion was actually photography. He grabbed his camera and went to see her. She was incredibly supportive and happily modeled for him so he could take pictures. Afterward, he asked to take a selfie together. Jesuo happened to witness this entire scene. Out of sheer jealousy, he took a selfie of himself and posted it on her social media account since he was still logged into it. Seeing the post, she excused herself from Jinwoo to go deal with Jesuo. Jinwoo retaliated by skipping a weekend student council meeting just to hang out with her. What's more, he deliberately made sure Jesuo knew about it. Over the weekend, while Jinwoo and the idol were out developing photos, the other three guys went out for drinks. Jesuo noticed some couples raving about how good the cake was at the cafe. He immediately got the idea to buy a piece for her. During her outing with Jinwoo, she kept bringing up Jesuo. It was obvious she cared about him a lot. Even while they were eating, she told Jinwoo about the time she and Jesuo had gone out to eat together. Suddenly, Jinwoo had an idea and asked her to wait right there. When he came back, he brought her a bouquet of flowers. She was deeply touched and cherished the gift. Jinwoo was just about to confess his feelings to her, but Jesuo arrived at the exact wrong time. He had come all the way there just to give her the cake he heard people praising earlier. When she finally got home, she looked through the photos Jinwoo had taken. She had to admit they were truly beautiful, but despite that, her mind kept wandering back to Jesuo. The next day at school, Eunhyun was happily texting Dami. Jinwoo, knowing about their relationship, asked when exactly Eunhyun had confessed his feelings. Back when they first enrolled, Eunhyun had accidentally bumped into Dami because he sat in her seat by mistake. However, it was Dami's adorable personality that made him fall for her at first sight. Previously, Dami had proactively invited him to eat, and he deeply regretted making her take the first step. Because of that regret, he wanted to encourage Jinwoo not to make the same mistake and live with regret. Later, Jinwoo showed up at her house, only to bump into Jesuo at the door, who was there for the exact same reason. When she stepped out of her house, still groggy from an unwanted dream, she was immediately confronted by the two of them. One looked incredibly grumpy, while the other was totally welcoming. Jesuo quickly snatched her bag, and the three of them awkwardly walked to school together. He lied and claimed they were just out for a walk and conveniently stopped by to pick her up. Even more ridiculously, he claimed that he and Jinwoo had planned to walk together. Jinwoo, who absolutely hated lying, bluntly stated the truth. They had specifically come to pick her up. During class, Jesuo proactively passed her a note, asking to borrow an eraser, and she gladly lent it to him. Seeing him thank her for it made her face light up visibly. He quickly took the opportunity to invite her to lunch, but she turned him down. Meanwhile, in her own relationship, Dami was being shunned by the other girls simply because she was dating Eunhyun. But what Dami cared about right now was not the gossip, it was her weight. She was feeling deeply insecure, convinced that there were plenty of girls around Eunhyun who were much better than her. The idol tried to reassure her, saying she was far more attractive than those other girls. Right in the middle of their conversation, Jesuo and Eunhyun walked over and sat down to eat with them. Wanting to avoid getting tangled in the romance plot, the idol pretended she was full and left the table. Eunhyun kept enthusiastically putting food on Dami's plate, completely oblivious to the fact that she was stressing over her weight. Later, Dami went to the bathroom and saw her skinny rival, which only deepened her insecurity. insecurities. She resorted to forcing herself to throw up the food just to lose weight. The idol was genuinely worried, thinking Dami might be sick, but Dami just walked away without saying a word, making her suspect that something was seriously wrong. Noticing the idol looked a bit down, Jisuo went over to talk to her. She brought up the fact that he probably understood Dami quite well. She mentioned that Dami had been acting off lately. Jisuo simply replied that if Dami had a problem she wanted to share, she would speak up when she was ready. He also pointed out that the idol seemed to care deeply about everyone else except him. Realizing how close he was standing, she quickly pushed him away. She sought out Hansei to vent, confessing that she had been trembling while talking to Jisuo. She never expected him to be so brutally honest about his feelings. Now she had no idea what to do. Hansei brought up the reality of returning to the real world. He guessed that eventually she would have to decide whether she truly wanted to stay in the novel or go back to reality. Meanwhile, Dami was obsessively reading weight loss articles online. She could not believe that some people actually weighed under 40 kilograms. She looked at herself in the mirror and eventually turned to diet pills. That night, she secretly met up to buy the pills and started taking them immediately. The next day during gym class, the side effects hit her hard and she fainted from exhaustion. Noticing that Dami was constantly dizzy, the idol searched her bag to see if she was taking any medication. That was when she accidentally discovered the diet pills. A doctor had specifically warned that these pills contained harmful ingredients and were strictly banned for students. Furthermore, forcing herself to throw up was severely damaging her health. The idol also noticed the scars on Dami's hands, a clear sign of self-induced vomiting. When Dami woke up, she immediately looked for her pills, but could not find them. Elsewhere, the idol saw Jinwoo being interrogated by a teacher for failing to submit his future career plan. He lied, claiming he had just forgotten to write it and promised to submit it soon. She knew perfectly well that Jinwoo had zero interest in studying medicine and that his true passion was photography and videography. She approached him and encouraged him to pursue what he actually loved. Her words gave him a massive boost of motivation. He confessed that things that seemed impossible felt incredibly easy whenever he was with her. Later, on the way home, Dami confronted the idol, asking for her box of diet pills. She tried to play it off as just vitamins, but the idol firmly stated she knew exactly what they were. She tried to talk sense into Dami, but her friend reacted with stubborn hostility. Dami lashed out, saying incredibly harsh things that deeply hurt the idol's feelings. Seeing the whole exchange, Jinwoo stepped in to comfort her. Noticing that Jisuo was also watching, Jinwoo deliberately pulled her into a hug. Jisuo confided in Hansei, revealing that she already liked someone else. Hansei asked him point blank if he was truly serious about her. Instead of giving a straight answer, he fired back, asking why Hansei knew Jinwoo liked her but never bothered to tell him. The next day, Jinwoo met with his homeroom teacher and finally confessed his passion for photography. He poured out the dream he had been hiding for so long. He wanted to officially pursue his true passion. Meanwhile, Jisuo was overthinking her words. He concluded that she had indirectly rejected his feelings. He sat alone, looking miserable, and eventually deleted the selfie they had taken together. Hansei approached her and admitted that he was the one who told Jisuo she liked Jinwoo. She was completely at a loss on how to handle the messy situation. Hansei suggested the most logical solution. She needed to go and honestly confess her feelings to Jisuo. She went to find Dami to apologize for their previous argument, but Dami's attitude had completely changed, and she coldly declared she no longer wanted to be friends. When grades were posted, anyone scoring under 50 points had to stay after school for remedial classes. Since the idol scored below 50, she was stuck in the classroom. Surprisingly, Jisuo, who ranked first in the entire school, also stayed behind for the remedial session. He had finally cleared his head. He calmly apologized to her, admitting that he had been forcefully pushing his feelings onto her lately. When it was time to leave, he did not walk home with her anymore. For the first time in a while, she walked home completely alone. The next day, she walked into the cafeteria but spotted Dami, so she immediately turned around and decided not to eat there. On her way out, she bumped into Jisuo, so she purposely grabbed Hansei and dragged him away just to avoid him. She sent Hansei off to buy her some snacks. Jisuo noticed and handed Hansei some extra bread to give to her. She vented to Hansei about her complicated situation with Jisuo. Hansei advised her to take this opportunity to properly distance herself from him, but that proved to be impossible because her female lead aura forcefully turned Jisuo into her personal exam tutor. Now, no matter how closely she interacted with Jinwoo, Jisuo completely ignored her. Whenever their study sessions ended, he no longer waited around to walk her home. While they were out grabbing coffee, Eunhyun finally realized how deeply Dami was spiraling into her extreme diet. She refused to even touch a piece of cake, which genuinely worried him. It turned out Jesuo did not become her tutor by choice, it was a mandatory volunteer activity. Tutoring her gave him a massive amount of volunteer credits. But when he caught her sleeping during a study session, his heart fluttered once again. He leaned down to look at her, just as she opened her eyes. She quickly made up an excuse, claiming her hand was cramping. He gently massaged her hand to help. On the way home, he told her they should just be friends. He did not want to add to her stress because she had been looking exhausted lately. Just then, Bin showed up, asking to speak with her. He brought up Dami's extreme diet, and the idol explained that the psychological pressure of dating him was likely the root cause. Union blamed himself, feeling he was the one lacking, and admitted he had been trying to improve himself for her. Before parting ways, she finally asked Jesuo why he liked her in the first place. He admitted he did not really know, but he started paying attention to her when she actively owned up to her mistakes and tried to fix them. When she got home, she sat down and seriously asked herself if she genuinely liked him. After a long moment of reflection, she picked up her phone, called him, and demanded they meet up. She told him she just wanted to be friends. She absolutely could not stand the fact that they were acting like complete strangers. He challenged her to ask him a question to test the waters. Her mind went blank, so she asked a bunch of random, nonsensical questions. He labeled every single answer a secret and refused to say a word. He did this to prove that he, too, had secrets he could not simply blurt out. Finally, she gathered her thoughts and came to a firm conclusion. She liked him too. Upon hearing her confession, he completely froze in shock. The next morning at school, Jesuo noticed her acting exactly like his annoying little brother. He was practically glowing today, thrilled by the fact that the girl he liked actually liked him back. But his joy quickly faded when he realized that, despite mutual feelings, they were still not officially dating. She shared the major update with Hansei. Hansei thought the solution was incredibly simple, but she argued that with her best friend Dami currently struggling, she could not just selfishly enjoy her own happiness. Jesuo noticed Hansei constantly whispering secrets with her and started interrogating them. Jinwoo walked into the room, instantly reminding Jesuo of the time he had hugged her. He asked Jinwoo if he was giving up on medical school, but Jinwoo remained silent. Jesuo pressed further, pointing out that photography used to be just a hobby, and Jinwoo was never this rebellious before. Jinwoo firmly stated that he loved it much more now than he ever did in the past. That evening, Unhyun walked Dami home and told her he had completely deleted her social media account. He did it because it was filled with toxic, unnecessary garbage that was hurting her. He invited her out to eat, but she insisted she needed to exercise instead. She was practically starving herself and surviving entirely on diet pills. Unfortunately, the school bully caught sight of her taking the pills. The bully knew perfectly well that those pills contained dangerous, illegal substances. The bully approached the idol, faking a sincere apology for everything, and then falsely promised to help Dami lose weight safely. Meanwhile, Jinwoo told the idol that he had officially moved out of his house to start his own life. His parents refused to support his dream, so he decided to stand on his own 2 feet. She asked him why he loved photography so much. He openly shared the deep emotions and joy he felt whenever he was behind the camera. However, it was clear he had never shared those exact feelings with his parents, which was probably why they could not understand his passion. She advised him to gather his courage and try explaining it to them one more time. Meanwhile, Jesuo was desperately trying to text her, but had no idea how to start the conversation. Jinwoo was just about to confess his feelings to her again, but he noticed she was far more focused on an incoming text from Jesuo than on what he was saying. Catching the hint, Jinwoo changed the subject and swallowed his confession. Instead, he simply asked her to post the photo they took together online. After waiting forever for her reply, Jesuo finally got a notification, only to see that she had just posted a picture of herself with Jinwoo. Dami was now completely being manipulated. She handed her phone over to the bully, who immediately leaked all her private information online. Everyone now knew about her severe weight insecurities and her dangerous dieting methods. Right as Dami was being publicly humiliated, the idol stepped in to defend her. But the damage was already done, and the situation was beyond saving. Unable to handle the overwhelming pressure, Dami ran away in tears. The bully continued to mock her, and the idol angrily called her out for acting like a true villain. The bully tried to get physical, but Jesuo stepped right in front to block her. The idol then went to find Dami to talk things out. Even though she used tough love and harsh words, she remained incredibly calm and rational throughout the conversation. By some absolute miracle, the two of them finally reconciled and became friends again. Jinwoo returned to his new place and stared at a photo he had taken with a senior photographer. Gathering his resolve, he went back to his parents' house, knocked on the door, and prepared to have a real conversation with them. Dami went live on social media. The comments were still flooded flooded with people mocking her weight loss scandal. Instead of hiding, she openly explained exactly why she had become so obsessed with losing weight. She finally had an epiphany. If she did not treat herself well, she would never be able to truly accept the love and care from the people around her. Today, Jae-soo bought a massive amount of food to make up for all the days the idol had barely eaten. She confessed that she had a massive secret she had not told him yet. He smoothly replied with his own secret. He liked her. He added that no matter how big her secret was, it would never change how he felt. Later, she started writing in her diary. She promised herself that starting today, she was going to change. She was going to live with a completely new mindset. She even mapped out a strict schedule to reinvent herself and permanently escape her villainous role. The very next morning at school, Hansei was forced to witness their disgustingly sweet romance. The two of them were playfully arguing over who had dreamt about the other more. Hansei walked over to ask what was going on, and Jae-soo almost blurted out that they were officially dating. Luckily, she slapped her hand over his mouth just in time. He later asked why she insisted on keeping their relationship a secret. He dramatically deduced that she must be embarrassed to be seen dating him. She brushed it off, saying she just had some important things to take care of for a few days. The truth was, she had made the ultimate decision to stay inside the novel permanently. She figured the tragic ending was just their own assumption. After all, what if the novel just kept going, exactly like real life? She was happy to be here, because in the real world, she had to endure so much malicious backlash from the internet. Now, she treated her life in this novel as her second chance and decided to make the most of it. Jae-soo had played a prank on her, and she had no idea he had stuck a note claiming ownership on her back. Jinwoo noticed the piece of paper, walked over and gently removed it for her. Jinwoo also shared that he had gone home and managed to convince his family he no longer had to sleep in the student council room, even though his parents had not fully agreed yet. Lately, she was heavily focused on getting into college. She asked Jinwoo to evaluate her current academic level, and he found it genuinely difficult to answer. When she finally looked at her actual grades, she realized she ranked below the school average. She quickly pulled herself together, determined not to waste her second life. The next day, he brought her a small plant, telling her it represented her, and promised to take good care of it. They started planning out the dates they wanted to go on. However, there would be no matching profile pictures because their relationship was no longer a secret. She mapped out a solid plan for her new life and began executing it step by step. While walking home together, he asked who her first love was, but she vaguely dodged the question. Instead, she turned it around and asked what exactly made him so attracted to her. That night, he held her hand, and their relationship seemed to be steadily moving forward. She even created a brand new social media account that matched her true personality. From there, she started posting updates to refresh her image in the eyes of everyone. But the next day, he scolded her, reminding her that since he was her boyfriend, now she had a new account and could freely post whatever she wanted, like photos of him, for instance. While he was off buying drinks, she suddenly heard someone calling her name. Everything around her started glitching and blurring, as if she was about to be erased from that world. When she woke up, she found herself right back at the press conference in the real world. Back in the novel world, every trace of her existence slowly began to disappear. Even Jae-soo no longer remembered who she was. Hansei went to check her house and found the gate firmly locked. He realized she had truly left that world. Her name had simply become the name of a flower. Hansei thought the author had written a very strange script. If a character was going to be deleted, they should be erased completely, but instead random fragments like her empty desk were left behind. He tried to ask Jae-soo if he remembered what brought Eunhyun and Dami together, but he could not recall a thing and remained perfectly cheerful. When he got home, he found the stuffed animal he had won for her during their date. A fragmented memory flashed through his mind, but he could not grasp what it actually was. The next day, he gave that stuffed bear to Dami, which made Hansei incredibly angry. However, Hansei did not explain the reason behind his anger. Jinwoo was looking through the photos he had taken and realized he could not remember who the person in the pictures was. Similarly, Jae-soo had photos on his phone but had no idea who he had taken them of. Just like Jinwoo, when he was walking home, he hallucinated her silhouette waving at him, but because his memories of her were erased, he did not recognize her. Back in his room, he saw her faint image in the photos and found her name written in his diary. He now had a hazy, vague feeling about her, but still could not pinpoint who she actually was. He gathered all his souvenirs of her and went to confront Hansei, believing Hansei knew something about this mystery. However, Hansei could not give him any concrete information. Now, wherever he went, her name seemed to pop up. He eventually tracked down her house, and this time he noticed her name on the door. He stepped inside, and the memory of their mutual confession suddenly rushed back to. With his memories fully fully restored, he rushed to tell Jinwoo that he could not find a single trace of her anywhere. But Jinwoo still had no idea who she was. Only Hansei pulled him aside to talk. Hansei finally revealed the truth about who they really were and where they came from. In the following days, Jae-soo started skipping school. Knowing the truth, Jinwoo went looking for him and found him sitting alone in a corner, looking completely heartbroken because her existence had been wiped from everyone else's memories. No one believed she was ever real. The truth was Jinwoo had overheard Hansei revealing the secret to Jae-soo. After hearing it, Jinwoo went back to look at his photos and managed to recover a piece of his own memory. He advised Jae-soo to let her go because she did not belong in this world. Back in the real world, she was forced to face the press conference again. The interview felt more like a trial, forcing her to confess to the school bullying rumors fabricated by her former classmates. She originally intended to read from the pre-written script, but it felt completely wrong, so she decided to ditch it. Because she remained silent, the reporters started causing a massive uproar, piling even more pressure on her. Suddenly, the stage lights blacked out, and when they came back on, she had vanished from the stage. Meanwhile, he could not stop thinking about her beauty. He reminisced about the time they walked down that street together, and of course he vividly remembered the unforgettable incident at the fountain. Now that he could remember everything, it all felt like a surreal dream to him. Jinwoo showed up having realized that she had disappeared. Jae-soo begged him to help find her, but Jinwoo insisted he needed to let her go because this world was not where she truly belonged. The next day he dragged himself to class, and Hansei checked in on him. He was completely drained of spirit, and every day felt like a blur. He remembered that she had once confessed a massive secret to him, and he had accepted it without hesitation. Now all he wanted was for her to return to him just one more time, even if it meant he had to cross into the real world. The moment she refused to follow the carefully edited script like a primetime drama actress, a swarm of reporters seemingly out of nowhere bombarded her, making her dizzy and overwhelmed. The lights suddenly died, as if the power was cut at the perfect moment, and just like that, she was gifted a round-trip ticket right back into the novel. It seemed that whenever she tried to break free and run away from it, all fate grabbed her by the hand and yanked her back here, as if telling her not to rush. As soon as she arrived, she immediately went looking for Jinwoo, who informed her that Jae-soo was currently spacing out by the fountain. When she got there, she recalled the words Hansei had whispered about staying or leaving. It was like a math equation with two variables and no solution. She was just about to quietly walk away when Jae-soo suddenly called out to her. He pulled her into a surprise back hug, instantly shattering all her plans to leave. When she returned to her room, she found that all the belongings that had previously vanished were sitting perfectly in place, as if she had never planned to leave at all. The next morning, she returned to school, and he bought her an entire box of fever patches. Apparently, the rumor going around was that she had been sick and missed 2 whole weeks of school. Seeing her back, Hansei bloomed like a fresh spring flower. During lunch, the two of them caught up talking about everything under the sun. As for the decision to stay or leave, she had not fully committed to either option yet. After all, the final outcome was entirely up to her. She opened up about the shock of being backstabbed by her best friend on social media in the real world. Her agency, without consulting her, had published a massive essay-length statement shifting all the blame onto her friend. Since her return, Jae-soo was visibly ecstatic. He could not hide his emotions at all. But if she kept hesitating, she could be violently thrown back into the real world at any moment without warning. Hansei honestly confessed that he had personally chosen to stay in this fictional world 3 separate times. Meanwhile, Jae-soo silently worried whether she was truly happy living in this place. Then, Jinwoo stepped in, playing the role of the soulful confidant, to talk to her. She secretly guessed he had no idea she had just returned to the real world and then teleported back here. When he brought up the fact that she and Jae-soo were dating, he made sure to mention that he had entered the field too late, losing his chance to win her heart. He boldly declared that if Suo ever mistreated her, she should run straight to him, and he would heal her wounds. It turned out Jinwoo had often imagined confessing to her, but never mustered the courage to actually say the words. Meanwhile, she was busy furiously studying for the college entrance exams. Looking so serious, people thought she was preparing for a retake instead of just living in a novel. During this time, Jae-soo took the chance to ask Hansei what she was actually like in the real world. Hansei revealed that she was incredibly successful, shining brightly like a star in the night sky. But because she could not handle the crushing pressure of her life, she decided to move to this world, to live like a romance novel heroine. He genuinely hoped she would always hold her head high and confidently accept the love of others. Jae-soo started drawing a portrait, making her the main subject. He desperately desperately wanted to capture her image on paper, adding a deeply emotional caption, promising never to forget her, exactly like the final episode of a melodrama. He handed her a single-foot blister bandage, treating it like a national treasure, constantly bringing it up, as if terrified people would forget he had done something nice. But, just as the atmosphere was getting deeply romantic, the rest of the squad crashed the moment, bringing snacks and an incredibly high level of disruptive energy. Jisoo just stood there completely clueless on how to handle the loud crowd. Eventually, everyone started playing games and having a great time while he sulked in a corner, perfectly playing the role of the brooding male lead. Even though he initially refused to join in, seeing Jinwoo sitting so close to her sparked his jealousy, he immediately squeezed his way right between them and joined the game. Thanks to his sudden participation, the atmosphere became lively and everyone had a blast. The group ended up playing Jenga, thoroughly enjoying the holiday vibe. She took a moment to confide in Hansei, explaining that her previous disappearance was not her own choice. Now she actually had the power to return to the real world or stay here forever. After thinking it over, she firmly decided to stay, simply because life here was happier, more beautiful, and most importantly, she had Jisoo. Hearing this, Hansei asked why she had a Christmas tree in her room in the middle of summer. She was not embarrassed at all and proudly showed off her birthday photos, announcing that she and Jisoo were going to tour university campuses this weekend. They were the perfect study couple, fully invested in their future. Since that day, Jisoo seemed traumatized by the fear of losing her again. He practically guarded her house like a predator stalking its prey constantly, terrified she would vanish a second time. However, he also understood that true love could not be a cage, so he never said anything that might make her afraid to return to the real world. Hearing all of this, she was moved to tears, but did not know what to say, so she decided to write him a handwritten letter. In the letter, she confessed that he was the one who taught her how to love herself despite her flaws and mistakes. Ever since arriving in this world, simply remembering his confession was enough to make her happy. She assured him that he no longer needed to prepare for a painful goodbye because she had made her final decision to stay. He received the letter with sheer excitement, but when he opened it, the pages were completely blank. The Christmas tree in the room had also inexplicably vanished. Meanwhile, she had fully returned to the real world. This time, there were no blinding lights and no swarming reporters, just a cleaning staff member informing her that the press conference was over. For the past week, rumors claiming she was a school bully had spread like wildfire on social media, forcing her to stand at a crossroads, leave the classroom, and never return to the novel world. Ultimately, she chose to leave, leaving all her precious memories with Jisoo behind. In a clarification video, she boldly exposed her agency for fabricating the bullying scandal. She also confronted the best friend who had stabbed her in the back. That friend, out of pure jealousy, had orchestrated the whole mess to test who her true friends were. No longer drowning in sadness, she returned to her fort, livestream selling. She utilized the absolute confidence she learned from the novel to explain her innocence to the public, begging them to stop hurting her. Surprisingly, it worked perfectly. Internet rallied behind her, and public opinion completely flipped. When it was time for graduation photos, Jisoo quietly slipped away from his group to return to his classroom to celebrate his graduation. It proved that despite his cold exterior, he had a truly warm heart. After her successful live stream, she was invited onto a TV show to share her true feelings. When asked what motivated her to do the live broadcast, she quoted Dami, explaining that she used to be so gentle and kind that people constantly took advantage of her. Now she just wanted to live for herself a little. The broadcast was a massive success. The interviewer guessed that the friend she quoted must love her very much, and the entire audience nodded in agreement. One day, while sitting in the Lex makeup room, Hansei unexpectedly appeared. It turned out he had also returned to the real world, but was currently struggling to find a direction in life. Guessing that Jisoo had probably returned as well, she publicly posted her filming schedule, hoping for a chance encounter with him. Then a miracle happened. Jisoo woke up and realized everything was just a dream. It was a dream that started a month ago on the day he was eating noodles, and coincidentally saw her sitting there looking miserable. Even though he did not recognize her, he noticed her and saw she was texting a stranger. He decided to text back just for fun. Neither of them had any idea they were connecting through a magical novel. He started piecing together the events, her fake academic scandal, his bizarre dream, and this inexplicable sense of familiarity. He even went to the press conference where she also recognized him after waking up. He bombarded her with texts, unable to contain his overwhelming longing. He truly believed they had been together in that dream world and desperately wished to go back to that very first moment. Today was her birthday, and she received countless wishes, but the one that caught her eye was a photo of the fountain phone with a caption hoping to meet her there. She instantly knew who posted it and rushed to the spot. At first, she thought he was not going to show up, but then he appeared, looking exactly like the male lead of her dreams. He still had all his memories and even playfully teased her. He openly admitted how much he missed her, leaving her completely stunned, unable to believe he remembered everything. They finally reunited in the real world. No magic, no foot blister bandages, just a sweet, ordinary date in the real world. That's the end of the video. See you in the next ones.